really great to see that. And it was like a special occasion, like weddings, it's like a loving time. And so there was so much love and like feel good feelings that maybe that had a lot to do with it too. It was like a very like happy occasion. And sometimes you're meeting with your community for not so happy occasions, but it's like the comfort, like a community like that brings you. And
it just keeps on getting worse. And the world is beating me down. It's also been true. And so it's so much better when you have that mindset, things just magically work out. Like everything, you attract that. Everything is good. Literally, no matter what happens, it's good. So it's not possible for something to be bad. And it's just a shift in how you view things.
I am myself. These people appreciate it. They got my back, like those sort of things. And it's something about like a group of them, like a larger group, because you can feel that way about like your individual friends. And maybe you just haven't had the opportunity to get all your friends together to have that like shared experience. Even when you have your perfect partner and your perfect relationship, how important community is.
Yeah.
And going to this wedding, we were there for multiple days before and then multiple days after. And the community was like something we haven't really experienced, like having that many people together at one time. In this community, we have really great friends, including one that records our podcast and helps us with all of that. And, multiple other groups of friends, but seeing like their group and how like they've cultivated this community of friends and they all had such like a positive mindset, and seeing that all together was just really like eye-opening. And different. Like I had never, like even my community that I used to have of like friends and whatnot in Florida or back in Virginia, like they're all amazing.
Yeah.
But it was something about this specific group. I don't know how to explain it. Like not that they're better, but the energy.
The vibe, yeah.
Yeah, the energy, that
aura.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds very like woo-woo or whatever, but it was just really great to see that. And it was like a special occasion, like weddings, it's like a loving time. And so there was so much love and like feel good feelings that maybe that had a lot to do with it too. It was like a very like happy occasion.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're meeting with your community for not so happy occasions, but it's like the comfort that like a community like that brings you. And it was just very profound for both of us. And obviously too, John will explain the tattoo. The word is pronoia.
They're waiting. They're like,
They've been sitting on pins and needles.
Yeah. So well, the tattoo.
Like, no.
Okay, so pronoia. You've probably heard of paranoia, right?
Yes.
Most people have heard of paranoia. But I hadn't heard of pronoia before, but John, our friend that got married to Sabrina, and he came up with this idea of doing the tattoo. At least I think it was him. So
he definitely picked the word.
Yeah, he picked the word. So, and he told me that he's getting a tattoo with the word pronoia. I was like, oh, what does pronoia mean? And he's like, well, it's the opposite of paranoia. And I was immediately enthralled with that. I was like, okay, so it's like, because paranoia is essentially, there's a couple of definitions, but you could say that it's the belief that the universe is out to get you, or that
conspiring
against you, right? So pronoia is the belief that the universe or the world is conspiring for you, which is great. It's just such a great message.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, hey, I haven't gotten a tattoo in my life, but this is a tattoo where I want to see that every day and keep that in my mind all the time. This idea of pronoia, it's such a positive. And there's some synchronicities that are associated with it as well, because just a couple weeks ago when we were at Nicole's family or your house for Christmas, I was talking to our daughter, Sophia, and your dad was there, and we were talking about, and because she was kind of having a little bit of a negative mindset, and I told her, I said, wow, the times in my life where I have always thought that the road rises up to meet me and everything always goes my way, no matter what, it ends up just working out for me. It's been true. And the times in my life where I've thought that it just keeps on getting worse and the world is beating me down, it's also been true. And so it's so much better when you have that mindset, things just magically work out. Like everything just, you attract that. And then when we went to the wedding, and this was like, this is a 6-night wedding, like a 6-day. We were there for a whole week. The pretty cool idea of having all your friends and stuff come out for a week. But the first night we were there, we were looking for something to watch on TV that wasn't in Spanish because we're in Sayulita. Sayulita?
No, you got it.
I got it right. See,
your other video you made, you said Salucita, I think.
Oh, dang it! It's Sayulita.
You were right.
Mexico.
It's Sayulita.
But yeah, so we're in Mexico there, and the only thing we found on Netflix that was in English was The Secret.
Well, it was Tubi, I think. It was some like free.
Oh yeah, or whatever it was.
TV.
Yeah,
it was a documentary on The Secret, which was. The documentary production was a little cheesy, but the message was really good. And it definitely felt like a synchronicity.
Because it's all about, it's manifested, or it's the law of attraction, right? So that means that what you think about becomes reality. You attract those things. And then when John had mentioned the tattoo is pronoia, I was like, wow, this is exactly
right. Goes hand in hand.
Plus, it was kind of just what I was going through in the last couple of weeks of getting my mindset back, and it's mostly just thinking that everything goes good for you,
right?
And then it does, like it's and there's a part of it that it's like it doesn't even matter if it's actually good or bad, but you interpret the things, right? So my old business partner used to always give me bad news, and when he'd give me bad news, he'd say, John, I know what you're going to say. And I'd be like, what am I going to say? And he's like, you're going to say that's good because. And that's what I used to always say. It's like, no matter what happened, I would say that's good because, and I'd figure out why it was good. And it turned things around. And when you're in that mindset and you're constantly thinking that way, it doesn't even matter. Everything feels good because even if it's bad, it's actually good because you're seeing it
you're
that
finding
way.
The good in the bad.
Yeah. So whether it's true that when you think pronoia thoughts that good things happen to you and the road does rise up to meet you or not, it doesn't matter because when you're in that mindset, everything is good. Literally, no matter what happens, it's good. So it's not possible for something to be bad, and it's just a shift in how you view things, which is so important.
Well, too, I thought what you said before was good too, that, it was a tether to that experience because like singularly, that's why we got the tattoo, right? So I think we all 26 of us were like, we can look down, if we're ever getting negative and look down at our tattoos and be like, no, like the universe is working for me, not against me, and kind of shift that. And like you said, tethering to that mindset and also tethering to the community.
Exactly.
Like the whole, episode is about, because a lot of people might not even realize that they already have community, because if you live close by to your family, or you live in a place where you've had like a strong friend group for a long time, which is how our friends John and Sabrina are. Like they grew up in San Diego, so a lot of these friends that they had are friends they've had for a long time, but a lot of them were also new. So it was just beautiful to see, that mix of like their old friends that have been friends with them for so long and their new friends, and even their family, you could tell like felt the love of their friends being there. And, it was obvious to everybody. And John and Sabrina, you can tell their love that they have for each other, and it's very spiritual, and their whole ceremony and whatnot was very spiritual, which is right up our alley. We love that. And it was very them. Like it just felt like their wedding, like how it should be. And the night before, John had given a speech to them and a few other people, and they were just really beautiful speeches. But one of the girls said really stuck out to me was that both John and Sabrina are really authentic. And I think that you could tell their authenticity because they also surround themselves with very authentic people.
Yeah.
And that also helps create a good community when you can be yourself and feel accepted. Because I think that's what really gives you community, right? Like the feeling of like, I am myself. These people appreciate it. They got my back, like those sort of things. And it's something about like a group of them, like a larger group, because you can feel that way about like your individual friends, and maybe like you just haven't had the opportunity to get all your friends together to have that like shared experience, you know? But yeah, it was just, it made me realize that you and I had lacked like a big community here.
Right. Yeah.
Like we have friends that we enjoy hanging out with and we value that time with them. But being with like a big group of people that we all connected with, I don't feel like we really had that experience until that moment. Like we had met some of the people through John and Sabrina earlier, but like you said, being with a group of people for like 6 days straight, like does bring you closer together and like help you get to know people a lot faster.
Yeah.
So it was just an experience that you and I hadn't had, and that we don't really have often just because our family doesn't live here.
Right.
So we don't even have like that sort of community to support us. And even when we went back for Christmas, it was nice having that support, right? Because a lot of times, like if we're not hanging out with our friends, then it's just you and me, and we're taking on a lot of stuff, and you know, we're parents and we're trying to do it right, and that's hard. But we enjoy the challenge. But it's like when you get into an environment where you're like, oh, I don't have to do it all.
Right.